I don't care. Whatever. Who gives a shit? July 29th, 1998 was a gorgeous summer day in Seattle. The sun set just as I was walking home. Walking to my car, I passed a group of people lounging on the lawn of a house. "How's your night going?" they asked me. "It's going very well," I said. All of a sudden, that group of people, 5 men and 2 women, suddenly attacked me. It started with a punch to the back of my head. When I turned around to see who had struck me, I was punched again, this time in the face. I tried to run away, but before I could, I tripped and fell in the middle of the street. They kept me there as they punched and kicked my body and my head. I tried a few times to get up, but each attempt was met with resistance, so eventually I surrendered to the situation. Folded forward over my knees, I covered my face with my hands and waited for the violence to stop. Throughout the entire ordeal, I did not cry. 3 months later, October 6, 1998, a young man in Laramie, Wyoming was found tied to this fence after being brutally beaten. He suffered massive injuries to his body, his face, and his skull. When his attackers were done abusing him, they left him alone all night. He slipped into a coma tied to that fence and died 6 days later. When I heard what happened to Matthew Shepard, my heart went out to him, and that time I did cry. I don't care. Whatever. Who gives a shit? Effective empathy. It's a heart thing. The ability to relate on an emotional level to someone else's situation. The feelings we get when we hear of someone's happiness or their struggles. By the looks on some of your faces right now, I can see that you know what that is. Journey with me back to July of 1998. The night after my attack, I returned to the same place where 24 hours before, 7 people kicked and punched me. As I stood there alone, I began to process what had happened to me. Of all the feelings and thoughts swirling inside me, I was puzzled most of all by this. Those 5 men and 2 women, they were teenagers. What could have made them lash out in violence at a stranger? What would it take for me to lash out at a stranger in the same way? It would have to be a pain of such magnitude that reason and logic are silenced. I don't care, whatever, who gives a shit? Cognitive empathy, it's a brain thing. The ability to understand another person's perspective, to reflect on their situation and to consider the reasons they may be acting the way they are. There's no excuse for violence. There are consequences. But as I stood there trying to understand what happened to me, I slowly came to the understanding that the pain those people caused me was nowhere near the level of pain that led them to act out in violence. If I dismiss them, if I don't look past their actions, if I don't make an effort to give a shit, then all that's left is what? Nothing good, that's for sure. You and I are perfect strangers. For all you know, we have nothing in common. But for a second right now, you've put yourself in my shoes. If you can do that with me, you can do that with anyone you meet. It's a choice. Effective empathy connects you to me because of related emotion. Cognitive empathy scans the data behind what I'm saying and doing, sorts out the noise from the essential information, and searches for cause and solution. I don't care, whatever, who gives a shit? Those are not acceptable responses. Correction. Who gives a shit how similarly we do or do not look or how differently we think? Conservative versus liberal? Men versus women? Accounting versus HR? Whatever. Given how much of our jobs and our lives center around managing relationships, it's essential that we flex the muscle of empathy. Now, the good news is, you don't have to be punched in the face to apply empathy. A friend's offhanded comments, a coworker with attendance problems, an ineffective leader, a struggling business, and yes, a perfect stranger all need empathy. Effective empathy is a heart thing. Cognitive empathy is a brain thing. The next time someone does something you don't understand or that you don't agree with, call on the power of your heart and your brain together to look through their words and actions to the solution. And do me a favor, dare to give a shit about one another. Because empathy, it begins with listening, but it starts with you. Thank you.